I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Orr,
Here.
Councilman Baker,
Here.
Councilman Martinez,
Here.
Councilman Pillinger,
Here.
Councilman Edwards,
Present.
Councilman Manager, and Councilman Villagrana.
Present.
Okay. First thing we're going to do is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, January 5th, 2015.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the regular meeting January the 5th, 2015, as they were presented.
Second.
We have a first and second. Roll call, please.
Baker,
Aye.
Villagrana,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Manager, Martinez, Pillinger.
Abstain.
What?
We didn't hear Edwards.
Abstain.
Abstain?
No, am I?
No, Martinez.
I'm
He wasn't here.
Was Martinez abstain then?
Abstain.
Okay.
Abstain, and Mayor Orr.
Aye.
For the record, it passes.
Yes. 5 ayes, 2 abstentions.
Is that what it is?
Okay, we're going to have the public hearing vacating of streets and alleys, continuing from January 5th. Wade's going to talk on this.
Yeah, just really briefly, good evening, everybody. I did get something from Fremont Sanitation District that specified the area that they wanted in the easement. Mr. Upton is now hiring a surveyor, and it'll probably take a little while to get the final plat drawn up, so I recommend that you continue it 2 meetings forward, and then it'll be ready to be approved and recorded.
To the February 16th meeting?
Correct, yeah,
So you want to table it?
correct. And that'll be the final time, and then even, it should be done by then, so. Mr. Upton's been trying to find surveyors to do the work, and so just one finally got back to me today, and then he's I think, contracted with another one today, so.
So procedurally, are we asking council to extend the public hearing to the 16th, or just this public hearing ends and we'll do a new one on the 16th?
You might ask if there's any other comment in regard to this.
About the vacate of the street and alleys. Is there any other comments?
From the
From
public.
And you got Fremont
Sanitation, the end of last
got
week sent
back
me
to you
a
on
formal
all
letter.
this?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll give that to the surveyor to draw up the final plat, vacation plat.
Now he just has to have with that
Motion.
Yeah,
information,
so-
now draw up the survey and then find.
And I don't know what the process is, previously. I mean, if you can approve something and just give them, 60 days to comply with basically the paperwork and filing the plat. I'm not sure what the,
Or do we wait till it's,
I'd recommend that any motion here go ahead and close the public hearing, and that you go ahead and table determination of this request for whatever that date would be, 2 weeks hence, February 16th.
But didn't you say maybe not all would be complete until for 60 days?
well, I didn't know, sometimes you can, if you're okay with the idea of the vacation, sometimes you could make a recommendation to approve that, and then what is one of the conditions?
On condition, okay.
Okay. So then I would just recommend you do it 60 days, so we know for sure this time we have all the
So
documents we
what
need.
would that date be if we're 60 days out?
No, 30 days, sorry.
30 days?
30.
Well, it would,
16th.
the month would be February 17th, because the 16th is a holiday.
Okay.
Both ways it works out as to the meeting.
Well, but we're not saying, it's not really 30 days, it's really 28 days.
If we just closed it or tabled it until February 17th, which is on a Tuesday, because Monday is President's Day, then we would be right on. So I make a motion that we table vacation of street alleys for Mr. Richard Upton and William Helder. Address East 4th Street between Florence Avenue and Tanner until February 17th.
Second. Do we want to put a?
Technically, the public hearing is still open. If you want to leave it open until the next meeting, fine. It appears to me that any public comment that's going to be made has already been made. So you might, I'm just suggesting, in your motion, you might go ahead and terminate the public hearing. But table consideration of the request until the 17th of February.
Close the hearing.
Amend my motion to close the hearing on the request for vacation of the street alleys and table into February 17th for Mr. Upton and Mr. Heller. Will that suffice?
That would.
Okay. And second for the amended.
Okay, now come to roll call.
Villagrana.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Henninger. Aye. Edwards.
Aye.
Buildings.
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
That was a battle. Okay. Okay, we're under visitors is next, and looks like we got Joanne Moore, Farmers Market. I know you've been up here once or twice before. State your name and address, please.
Joanne Moore, 121 West Front Street in Florence. I'm back again. This is our 8th year. We need to use your park again. Do you have a copy of the letter that was?
That we did.
We need your approval again. This is our 8th year, by the way.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's good.
And it keeps getting better every year, huh?
Yeah, it does.
There you go.
We'll eventually get around to having the 4th of July together again, you know.
There you go.
Yeah,
Eventually.
yeah.
Joanne, whatever money you made, it was my understanding that you guys donated that money to maybe.
We donate part of our profits to different ones. We have a list of every year that we've donated, stuff, and we give X number of dollars, whatever, and that our committee, they decide what they want to give it to, every year. But we donate a portion of it every year.
It really just isn't that the vendors make money out of it. It is for a worthwhile cause
Oh, sure.
along with
Yep.
having Florence as a that for farmers market.
Here's a list of,
Can't read it from
you can't read, where's your glasses, Paul? But yeah, we've donated every year, we donate to something or somebody, or an organization.
I just want to make sure, make it clear that you guys do help needy down the road.
Oh, yeah, and it's run by mostly all volunteers too, that run the market. Yeah, nobody's getting rich off of it.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to allow Florence Farmers Market to use park on Thursdays from June 4th through October 8th of 2015.
Second.
Amendment. You need to add to your motion a request to waive all licenses and fees associated with the sale of goods. That's part of the request.
As stated.
And the time.
And time, okay. So hours of market will be 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay. Is that satisfactory now?
Yeah. Who's the second?
Smart, Tony?
The two together right there.
June 4th.
I did say that.
Tony.
Okay.
No, Paul asked what.
Roll call.
Okay. Buildings.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Edwards.
Aye.
Henninger. Villagrana.
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye. Looks like you're there for another year.
Okay, thank you very much, all of you. Come down and see us.
We will. Okay, the next person up is a person we haven't heard from in a long time. He's Mr. Dick Upton.
Oh.
Just kidding, Dick.
Dick Upton, 401 Tanner. I'm here on behalf of the 14th Annual Merchants Car Show. starting to get all the groundwork done for this coming May. And I'd like to get street closures approved, so that part is done. And I left a little outline on your desk in front of you. We're going to have to expand a little bit this year, because every year it seems to grow. And I don't think we'll get to line them up the middle of the street this year. So if you look, it goes from Maple to Petroleum on Main. And if we take Pikes Peak and go to the alleys both directions,
Wow.
on the south side of Pikes Peak, we used to have a couple of vendors every year, but we're going to eliminate them so we have more room to park cars. And if we have one vendor, we will move them into the bank parking lot because we've dropped the swap meet because it just has not been successful. So, and then moving to Santa Fe, the same thing, move it out to the alleys. And we would like, well, I forgot to put the times on there. Again, 5:30 to 4 o'clock. And Sam will enjoy getting up that early. Right, Sam? He's not commenting. So 5:30 to 4, and the reason this so early is to keep the traffic out from the restaurants that early, so we don't have to hunt people down to move their vehicles out.
Have you got a lot of applications so far?
None so far.
Going good then.
We're just now starting to get the forms out
Okay.
to people. We delivered a bunch up to Denver 2 weeks ago. I'm going to take a bunch up to another swap meet in north of Denver this Saturday. So we're starting to distribute it, but the biggest response is always from the mailings that we give out to people who have been here before. So last year it went up about 30 cars. If it goes up 30 more this year, that's up to 200 cars, and that's going to fill us up.
Yeah, it was pretty crowded last year.
So yeah, every year we keep getting more.
200.
So it's a fun time, brings a lot of people in.
Is there any other questions?
I've got one.
Okay.
Dick, are you this year looking to do your own insurance or partner with the city? Or
We would like to partner. So I was going to ask about that, if we just put at the bottom of our flyers in partnership with the city of Florence.
We'll have to figure that out exactly, but I assume the city council is open to that as well, being a partner in this. You're not looking for any additional money from the city or anything like that, just a partnership that could, that would help with the insurance essentially.
And that was figured out in the budget in terms of monies that would help the various organizations or programs?
My understanding is if the city is a partner in the event, what we've discussed before was then the insurance is covered as part of the city's insurance. That's what we've always said before.
That's
We
why.
don't need to get new insurance then?
That's the discussion we've had
additional.
before. Now, if I'm hearing something different, then please let me know. But what we've been told up to this point was, if the city is a partner in the event, then that changes that end of it. So we will confirm that for you, Dick, and make sure.
Thank you.
Well, so in the initial flyers, then we won't put that on.
Well, we'll know tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow, okay, because I'll probably print them up on Thursday.
Whether you write the insurance or not, you're still partnering using the streets.
Right.
Okay, so I'll check with you.
Responsibility for those streets.
And that's what we're trying to get all these, like the 4th of July and all of them, to partner up with the city. That way that doesn't create.
We don't want to control it, we just want to.
Yeah. It just makes it easy. It's just hard for everybody to understand that if you're with the city, makes it easier for the insurance and everything.
But we'll have
Yeah, I'll check with you Thursday and see what you come up with on that. Because all the profits go right back into promoting Florence.
Exactly.
Okay?
It's good to have
Questions?
valve cover races too.
Absolutely.
Are we gonna try for a new track?
I'm gonna resurface it this year.
Resurfacing the track?
Resurface. I'm gonna talk to Sam, see if we can get a load of asphalt, put a nice layer down there.
Okay,
That'll work.
Yeah, that'll be fun to carry.
That'll work.
I have a motion on the floor.
I have a question, it's
Okay.
probably for Mr. Frederickson, and it's just going back to the, it's on this and also on the farmer's market, I'm 100% in favor of both, but wouldn't procedure be, is it more fitting if we put it on the agenda to vote in case there was an opposition? Or can we vote on this stuff tonight? We did on the farmer's market on this, I thought it had to be on the agenda, not some new business or visitors.
Yeah.
Well, I'll respond two ways to that. One is it certainly needs to be on the agenda if you're expending public funds. Two, it needs to be on the agenda if you anticipate that there's going to be opposition to it. I'll leave the answer to that up to you.
I don't feel that there would be any opposition, I just want it to be on the legal side of things.
That'd be a first.
For procedure.
I don't think we've, I mean, I look to the merchants, I don't think we've seen opposition from the merchants. They tend to like it, don't they?
Yes.
So, okay.
I'm looking, there were a few merchants in the audience.
It's been a success every year.
Do we want to go ahead and put it on as an item for the next meeting then, to make it all, or do you want to do it right now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it now.
I don't think we're gonna be expending any funds.
Yeah.
I think you're fine if you want to vote on it now.
Okay, and like I said, is there a motion on the floor?
Now I make a motion that we approve the car show street closures for May 17th, 2015. Street from Main Street, from Maple to Petroleum, closure, and closure from Pikes Peak to the alley south and to the alley north, and Santa Fe to the alley south and to the alley north.
Second?
Okay, we have first and a second. Roll call, please.
Billy Grana.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Henninger. Aye. Edwards.
Aye.
Hildenstrude.
Aye.
Mayor Moore.
Aye. Okay. Is there any other visitors in the crowd that would like to speak before I move on? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Old business, we got Connie Higgs for the road project. Please come up and state your name and your address, please.
Connie Higgs, 653 Pinion in Coal Creek. And I'm here to talk about the multi-jurisdiction road project. I'll just give you a little bit of background on the road project. We started talking with the county, the three small towns in Florence about 2-3 years ago, trying to see how we could fix the roads. We also, I guess what really sparred the whole thing was the oil company Austin Exploration coming in and tearing up the roads coming through Coal Creek. So being the mayor at the time, I got involved with the oil companies and we were having the multi-jurisdiction meetings already. And so the county agreed if we could write grants through DOLA, the Department of Local Affairs, and get all of the three towns and Florence and the county to participate in the project, that we would make it a multi-phased project and each year try to do a portion of the roads. Last year we did 7.2 miles and it was from Highway 67 at 100 all the way through Coal Creek, and then it went south on 84, the dirt road that goes into Austin's oil well. So that project was about, I think it was 1.2 million. The county did the work. All of the towns participated. I think Florence sent their water truck was out there a lot. We might have had some flaggers. All the little towns had flaggers. And since it was such a big portion of Coal Creek, we participated with about $10,000 of cash, some fuel. Our maintenance man was there continually. And so the agreement with the towns was that
every phase, every town would participate in some way, even if it was just a flagger. I know I was out there flagging some, so board members can get certified for flaggers. Phase 2, I think you've got the budget in front of you. And as well, this is phase 2. It would come from Coal Creek North, which is 13, and come into by High Meadows. I think that's 13A, and on into Fraser. I think this stops, but it goes all the way to 115. Crosses the railroad tracks, 115. What the county is asking is that we participate more, meaning the 3 towns in Florence, with cash match. They're asking for $11,000. If you see that at the bottom where it says rotomilling, I've gone to all 3 small towns, and I know 2 of the towns have agreed that $2,000 each cash. I'm waiting on Rockville's $2,000. I've got $1,000 from a developer that's trying to do some things in Coal Creek. I've gone to Austin, and they have given $5,000 towards the core drilling, which has been done. And so the application is into DOLA, but the county has stated that if we don't get the $11,000, they're going to pull the application. This is phase 2 of the road project, and if they pull the application, then there will not be continued phases. And if you look at your map, there's another phase that would affect Florence as well, and that would be through the industrial part of Florence to 67. It's a good way to get our roads done. I know everyone travels on them, though, even though some of the phases, like last year, it wasn't in Florence. But the agreement was for all of us to try to participate in each phase of it and help each other. So what I'm asking from Florence is $6,000 or thereabouts of cash from your road fund to participate in this project. So are there any questions about the project? Each year we try to do another phase. It's a DOLA grant. Last year we got $550,000 from DOLA. I write the grants, and Tony and I go to the DOLA board. We'll be going to the DOLA board in March to present our project. Tony is the county road supervisor.
I think we need to ask Mike more than anything if we have the funds or if it's feasible or what.
Well, we budgeted a certain amount. I mean, part of what we need to see that we haven't been able to get is part of the identified area is stuff that the county just did for us. Stuff that they did for us in 2013, the chip seal for us. So
You're talking about Fraser?
Yeah.
Across the tracks,
They
yeah.
plan to go over that. They won't be rotomilling that up, but according to what the core drilling report, and I have the report if anyone wants to see it, the engineering's been done. Engineering for this was $9,500. We partnered with Austin on that. They paid half, and the rest was a DOLA match. So we have already gotten some money in it.
Was they coming all the way down Fraser, clear to the stoplights there and widening that?
Well, we, at 115 and, 115 in Fraser, we had gone to the state and asked if maybe, they would partner with us and we could have some turning lanes put in there. We asked for letters of support from the school district and from all the towns. And the state, I guess, has it on a list to do 5 or 6 years from now.
I don't think we have our total amount for the entire city, I don't think we have $6,000 for just pure street projects. We might have a little bit more than that if you count everything. That's everything for the entire budget. I don't know how we can do $6,000 just from us as a match.
And like I said, we have 7. Even if you could do 4, then we could meet our 11. Like I said, last year, we pretty much spent our budget, our entire road budget from Coal Creek. We spent $10,000 on the roads. But if you drive through there, have you driven through from 67 through Coal Creek and seen the difference? I had gone back to Austin and asked for more money, and I even though they had given 5,000 on the core drilling, because their oil drilling is not going real great at this time, they said they could not commit to anything. But they have given 5,000 on the project.
I have a question. How big of a portion that goes to industrial park in Florence?
It would go from 67 again, what is that, McCandless by the nursing home? And all the way through McCandless to
It's actually more drive.
Moore Drive? Oh, okay.
If that portion was redone by this county not too long ago.
So how much of it's really done in Florence?
Well, and then another part of it will be done theoretically next month by the railroad on the widening. I mean, we really need to sit down with Tony and figure out exactly what he's planning to do in Florence. I mean, the dilemma is, if you count everything, our patching budget and everything, this is 30% of everything. And I'm not saying it's not an important part, it is, but, you know, I mean, at 6,000, that's 30%, at 4,000, that gets us down to at 20%, but I can't recommend that given the travel in our community. I mean, I appreciate what Connie's doing, and I think it's important for us to be a part of it. I just don't know from a cash perspective how we're going to come up with that and still do all the other things that we talked about doing in the council goal setting. So, not trying to be the wet blanket, but somehow we've got to not lose sight of the goals too.
Would it be possible maybe to do a portion of cash and then offer some equipment or some more in-kind? We have to have
Like the
flaggers,
water
we have to
trucks.
have laborers out there.
The water truck.
And the cash would not be needed until late summer.
You know, I think that this would be, it would not be such a hard problem for us if it had been included in the original IGA. But the original IGA did not have any mention of any money. So consequently, when the budget was drawn up, there was no money allocated. I think in-kind is a very possible thing that Florence can do. But I don't see where we have the money or where we could get the money in view of the fact that as bad as our streets are to begin with.
Larry?
Well, I think that we do have an interest in this.
Yeah.
So let's, and I think we jumped to the conclusion of saying, no, we can't do it. I would go back to what Mike suggested. Let's sit down with Tony, that's the project person, and review everything that we could possibly do, equipment-wise, maybe some manpower for flagging, and maybe some cash. Before we absolutely say no, let's sit down and review it, because this is in our interest also. And for just to outright say no, I think that's foolish.
I agree with Larry.
I agree with Larry too.
I don't think we're saying no. I'm not saying no.
No one's saying
All I'm
no.
saying
You're
is that
saying
we
pretty
have-
much the same thing.
Well,
yes.
that we have a possibility of being able to help with in-kind, but until such time as we sit down and look at the budget and see where the money's coming from.
Well,
I have no choice. I can't vote for it until I can see where the money's coming from.
so, okay, well, that's pretty well your answer then, I think, is that we need to sit down.
Let's sit down.
Do you want to come up with a date to get with
Yeah.
Tony? Or do you-
What is your deadline for the
Grant.
We're meeting with Christy from DOLA on it's February the 3rd or 4th. And
So
then
pretty soon.
I believe March 3rd is our day to go to Denver to meet with the DOLA board.
Okay.
So we need soft numbers by February 3rd and hard numbers by March 3rd. And we meet on February 2nd.
Just so you know, I am going back to Austin and I asked them for 6,000. I'm going to go back to them and ask them if they could do anything, because they drive on these roads every day and they've got heavy truck traffic.
And
Which
that's
is
who
a good
you're
idea.
matching through is the oil and mineral impact grants.
Right, and we need industry support.
And please don't take any of my comments as if I'm not supporting this project. I do support what Connie's trying to do here, and I appreciate what Connie's a volunteer.
Yeah.
She's not the mayor there anymore or anything. She's doing all this stuff. So I really appreciate what she's doing. It's just a matter of coming up with the funds and still accomplishing your goals. So we have to see if there's a way for us to do that and make everybody, do everything we can to support everything.
Well, let's set up a workshop or something. I'd say this next week.
February 2nd is our next meeting.
We'll have
with
committees on
meeting,
February
so we
2nd
could
if you want.
discuss it then.
Okay. Yeah, but
Unless
I don't know if
it's out.
that works with it.
I can get with Tony and see. February
We should go
2nd,
Tony before that.
Yeah,
Well, yes, let's
well, that's
talk
what I'm
with Tony.
talking about.
February 2nd at what time?
We get together at 2?
2 o'clock.
2, but we'll get with Tony before that.
Okay.
So we need to meet with Tony before that.
But for the rest of the council to discuss it would be excellent time at the committee meetings.
Yeah, and then you can work, you can take action that night.
Exactly.
Okay,
I have a question, Connie, the next phase that's gonna be along Moore Drive, when do you expect to do that?
Well, we just determine after one phase is done, the most traveled one for the next phase, so there's no, it hasn't been set which phase. We numbered or lettered them A through D, but that doesn't mean that D would be the
went
last
first,
one.
right? Yeah.
Right.
So I would just suggest that once you know when the phase is, please approach this council before budget is done.
And I did talk to, I think it was at the mayor's meeting maybe, we talked about
yeah,
it.
you've talked about it a few times.
I'm putting it in the budget 6 months ago.
But we didn't have,
But
there was no request for money.
Yeah,
We hadn't discussed money.
and if we could have it like a long time before quite a bit ahead of time before we do our budget, then we could at least figure out if we could put this in.
What
You
is
understand, you used to be a mayor.
What is the cost of this phase?
I'm sorry,
Total cost of this phase?
of this phase, you have the budget in front of you, it's like 600,000, I believe. I don't have,
On the flip side.
576.
yeah. And that,
So you will set up a time with Tony to bring him in? Yeah,
what, and Mike,
yeah,
To get Sam and myself
yeah.
and Wade, and we'll go out there and
I know we did last year, we pulled water out of our fire hydrants for watering roads. We had a lot of trucking done, we had some cash match, we had fuel. We did everything we could because that was the only way we were ever gonna see those roads fixed.
It looked great too. You did a
Yeah,
good job.
yeah, the project turned out really good out there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Connie.
Thank you. So we know what direction we're going on for that now. Okay. Next up is the street closure special event licensing for the wine tasting. Do we have someone that wants to talk on that?
Alan Isley, 220 South Robinson,
Barb Brierly, 111 West Main.
and we are here with an amended version of a walkthrough time, steampunk, and wine.
Let's speak up, please.
March in Time.
March in
March in time.
You can pick up the microphone too.
March in Time to Steampunk and Wine. March 7th and 8th of 2015. And we're asking for a street closure. We've got the maps. Did you guys get them? On Pikes Peak. So we're going from the alley south of Main, that'll be south, right? To the senior center. And then Railroad Street, past the senior center. Now, we want to leave it we want to close that street for this, but we want to leave it open for the senior center visitors, so we're going to have one part of it open with a sign that says only for senior center visitors.
That's only on Friday when they have their
Saturday morning, they're Saturday morning, they're having a breakfast for us, for the event. Mhm.
That's cool.
And they're also putting on part of the event that evening, right, or that afternoon?
No, they're giving us a room that we can use for an auction there. So they're helping us, but I don't want the people coming to the event to be parking in a parking lot. So.
What about that parking lot across from the canyon, across from the senior center?
We're going to have that for some event.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to give
Activities.
your presentation first before we open up for questioning and everything? Is that all you got in your presentation? And then we'll
Do
open
we
up
want
for
to go ahead and
questions.
take a vote on the street closure, or do we want to put them both together and then have you decide it then?
Okay, and did you resolve the fact of if it's going to be that you buy tickets or anything like that?
From what we have gathered so far, we would like to get a special events permit, but now my understanding is you have to have a liquor license to apply for a special events permit. And this is news to me. I mean, I really thought that any entity could go in and apply for the special events permit. But I've been informed that we are not able to. So I really don't know where we're at on that situation right now.
Now,
We have arranged the rental for the American Legion Hall, which is noted here. They're on Petroleum, on South Petroleum. And we took a measurement of the area that we would cordon off for the wine tasting or wine distribution, the Wino Garden. I think I heard somebody say that.
The American Legion,
You know what I mean, it's all in fun, and it's,
the American Legion is a not-for-profit, it's not eligible,
Fraternal
fraternal
organization.
organization, so it's not eligible.
They are with the public hearing, but they would have to do a modification of premises to serve outdoors. They're only licensed in
for the
building.
inside.
I understand, okay, so if the American Legion, we don't know if or do we know, is the American Legion willing to be the sponsor of the, and modify the premises for the serving of alcohol? I kind of looked at Paul to a certain extent because I know he's a member there, but what's your guys' conversation?
that would be our only alternative is to, well, I mean, we could move it over to the Eagles and request the same of them, but I think we're up against a deadline on this pretty quickly, and if we can find a way to the end of it. I mean, we have no, if we have to move it indoors, we will move it indoors. Is that correct, Barb? I mean, if that's what it takes to get this through. You know, if we can't have it on the outside.
From a timeline perspective for Doris, from a timeline perspective, to have this done, if they want to be done by March 7th, how much of a lead time do they need to have it?
We would have to set, if they're going to do a special event, a modification, we have to have a public hearing at least by next meeting.
So February 2nd, we'd have to have, who's the entity, so if it's the American Legion that's willing to do it, they would have to do it on that February 2nd meeting.
Well, isn't there an application also, an application process?
Especially.
Yes.
And how long does it take?
Weather permitting, the area in front of the American Legion, if it was properly roped off, like we do in the park for the bear gardens, etc., that could very easily be provided as long as you roped it off.
Right.
That's what we want.
And that would be the front of the American Legion building. If the weather was bad, because the American Legion itself is not involved in this, they're renting the building out to the chamber, they could move it inside. And there would be, as far as I know, there is no problem with them, with their liquor act.
But they'd have to modify, do a premises modification to allow it to go outside. So they would have to officially fill out the application and be the sponsor, as it were, in conjunction with
And come in
the
for
chamber.
They have a liquor
Permit
license,
and
but it's a
everything.
fraternal organization and it's members only. If they open to the public, it has to be a special event.
Just like the
Okay.
Eagle, like we got the
Just
Eagles
like
with
the
the
Elks.
Like we always do.
Right.
Has to be a
The
special
American
event.
Legion does not have a liquor license, period. Because American Legion, the organization itself, is not allowed to have liquor during their meetings,
Oh,
et cetera.
so that goes
So
there.
it can't be the American Legion. It does.
But if
Somebody
they
else
can
do
rent the
it then.
building and they're not involved,
But
it can
then,
be
But they
utilized.
can't get a
The
special-
application.
They can't get a special event permit if they don't have a liquor license.
right, so you'll have to go.
Well, that's what I didn't understand, because when we did it before in the summertime, the city doesn't have a liquor license.
No,
And-
but we're eligible for special events permits because we're government. It's government, religious, political, and fraternal are the
So-
only ones eligible for.
So then they are eligible.
For fraternal.
If the American Legion wanted to, they
They're
could.
required, but they would have to get a liquor license.
But they don't even hold a liquor license.
Well, but we don't either, but when we go for
For a
one,
special event?
They could
for
get a
special events, they could get a special event one if they wanted,
Just for that event.
just for that event.
Mr. Mayor, I would encourage the council not to vote on this tonight. I think there's more planning that needs to be done. There's too many ifs. I wouldn't be able to give my okey-dokey on this.
But we have
Give
two
somebody,
issues.
give it the city, and so he can expedite so this can go through.
But we have, are you saying no to both, the street closure? Because the street closure is separate from the liquor license.
But what good is
So
the
we can
street
move close
closure?
street
Well,
closure.
they can still have their event without alcohol, or they could have the alcohol simply be inside the establishments that are already there, that serve alcohol,
I have a question.
if the worst case scenario.
If it looks, are you guys gonna block off at Louis? Or,
No, it's,
On the other side of the alley from
On the other
Louise.
side of the alley.
Yes, not to
Actually,
include
we're-
Louise.
it's gonna be, we're gonna leave the hair salon, it's gonna go right, she's gonna be right. Would that be a possibility to partner maybe with Louis to do, pull an extension
I
of their
see.
liquor license into the road like they do and put the wine there, the tents in the street?
is that something you want to do?
I don't know, I mean, that would be something that you'd have to ask Terry, but would that,
That's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, that,
Because he
that,
does
that
that.
that would make it a
He
lot
does
easier
that
for
every year.
everybody.
right,
But he still has to apply for his special events too.
And a modification of premises.
But then he'd have to sell his, he'd want his alcohol out in the
Yes.
premises too.
but you guys wouldn't be competing if you're doing wine and he does
No.
beer.
If they can't, nobody else could do it at that location.
It would have to be done by.
Right, it would have to be.
By Louis.
By Louis,
Okay.
so that you couldn't have wineries come in.
See, we want it to be steampunk and wine. That's the point of it. So we don't really want beer, we don't want other alcohol, we just want a wine festival.
So what we need to do then is council is saying, let's figure out the alcohol. Is council also saying, we don't want to vote on the festival? Or are you saying, hey, without the alcohol, the festival isn't gonna happen? It doesn't happen without the alcohol.
It's
See,
not, without wine,
That's
it's
it.
different, a little different,
Yeah,
wine
they don't
tasting,
even want-
yeah.
Okay, but you need lead time to advertise it and all those kinds of things. So we're in a position where we need to find
Well,
out.
their advertisement is out. I got the email today. And
Well,
they're advertising
Looking for vendors and
stuff that's not approved.
And I got
Mike?
an email also, and at this point, I'm confused with the whole business.
Mike, did you want to talk?
And right now, I would not vote for it.
Mike?
I have a request. You're talking about shutting down to Union Street on the other side of the senior center, but limiting access in so the seniors can still get into the senior center. To me, we're going to need to talk about that because it's going to be a traffic nightmare. How are we going to know who, what, where, when is coming in there? You're going to have people trying to park at the event, coming in the senior center, and I can anticipate calls to the police department saying they parked too illegally, we need to have them removed. They're out walking the event somewhere, trying to find the owners of a car, so I think that's something that if we can address with you, if this is going to go through, to alleviate any kind of extra police service calls there with the parking and traffic situation coming into the senior center.
see, we didn't want to leave it open because then everybody would be
Right, so almost you're
parking
gonna
there.
need
And we don't want to close it because, so we just wanted a little, an area on the end where it had a sign.
Well, signs, unless you have somebody there saying, they're saying, they know they're a senior center, I don't know if they have any IDs or any card that they remember the senior center, well, they can know to let them in. It's not somebody just trying to sneak in, park close to the event and walk. I can picture that being a.
Yes, I
But
like
I would say we have to have somebody behind it.
Yeah, exactly, because signs are not,
Exactly.
they're gonna do this, look the other way.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying, if you can, if we can coordinate something, make it easier. A good flow with Samurai, we can probably set up something to have a good flow in there where we can monitor that closely.
That's what I wanted to do.
That's all.
All right,
Thank you.
we'll have Mike talk next. We're trying to get it under control here.
Okay, here's what I think we need to do. I understand you're up against it time-wise. What we need to do is we need to find out where the American Legion is on it, if they're willing to pull the permit, or the Elks, or the Eagles, or where we would go there. So let's do this. Let's have you, hopefully the two of you and myself and Wade, are you guys available to get together? We can get together as soon as tomorrow. Wade, how's your schedule for tomorrow?
Yeah, that would be good.
And then we can get back with council and, you know, we'll run out of time, but at least we can have a plan for the February 2nd meeting. And if it's not gonna work, then we say, okay, it's not gonna work, then we go from there. How does your, maybe 9:30 look? You wanna just come here at City Hall tomorrow at 9:30?
Yeah.
And we'll get that, going from there.
There's just too many unanswered questions for council to make up their mind on this. So if you get it ironed out, then we'll go from there.
Well, and let me put another issue to bed here. The idea of tastings has been bantered about. That's not a possibility. As we indicated last time, I looked at the statute. Statute requires that the city have a tastings ordinance before a tasting is even allowed. And not only that, but there are only certain vendors that can do tastings, and this is not one of those. So in terms of your planning, don't plan on tastings because it can't be part of the overall program. Okay.
But a wino Gordon will be just fine. Okay, thank you.
Just wanted to clear
That's fine.
And we have asked, our city planner has got a tasting ordinance that we're working on. It's not exactly what we can use because it's from a different type of city, but we're working on it. And so for future events, potentially, we just can't have it ready by March 7th.
Maybe be creative tomorrow.
We'll tackle it and figure out.
Okay.
I mean, I think the biggest thing we've got to do is we've got to figure out if one of those three fraternal organizations wants to be the host. As long as one of them will be the host, then it has a fighting chance. And then it's just a matter of figuring out the road closures that would be acceptable to everybody.
To the police chief.
Yeah, to the police chief, of course.
Right.
Well, and they've both offered all the support that we possibly could need, so I don't see a problem with that, but we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Anyone else?
Anything else, Barb?
I guess not.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we get this ironed out. See how that talk to those people. Okay, moving on to new business. A resolution 2-2015 approving a grant application for the master plan update. Let's come talk on this. Wait, oh, you're already there. Wow, you're quick.
Good evening. Hello again. I'll be brief in the interest of time. This resolution is to expend $10,000 to apply for a grant from the Department of Local Affairs Administrative Planning Grants. You're most probably familiar with the Department of Local Affairs. They're large competitive grants that are for $100,000, $200,000, $600,000, like Connie was talking about fixing streets. They also have a program, a rolling deadline up to $100,000 for planning grants. So this is any type of planning, park planning, city planning. And so I talked to Christy Culp, the person who came and talked to you, our rep, and talked about updating our comp plan, which is almost 10 years old now. And I think a lot of people put a lot of work into it, and it's a pretty good comp plan. And things have changed in the way that we fund the activities that we want to do has changed.